Welcome to Worth It or Worthless, a show where every episode we pull a game from my own personal collection of retro games, take off our nostalgia tinted glasses and decide, is the game good by today's standards and is worth the price of admission? We talk about what the game does well, what the game doesn't do so well, and the things that are just plain weird. I'm your host Dan, joined as always by my friend Jordan. Jordan, what did we get into today?
Today we played Vampire Killer, aka Castlevania The New Generation, aka Castlevania Bloodlines for Sega Genesis. Castlevania Bloodlines is the story of one girl's epic road trip across Europe as she attempts to cause a world war that will revive her currently dead but previously undead uncle. So strap yourselves into your suspenders, grab your trident, because today we're diving fangs first back into the world of Castlevania.
Fangs first. Okay. The story of this one, Dracula's niece wants to resurrect Dracula.
Yeah. And the best way she can think to do that is by causing a world war.
Starting World War I by assassinating the Prime Minister of Austria, was it?
The Archduke, Franz Ferdinand?
Franz Ferdinand. I don't remember something.
She's going to create a time machine, travel to the early 2000s, assassinate the
band.
Alt-pop rock band, Franz Ferdinand.
Of course, yeah.
Take me out. They asked for it. They put out a song.
No.
They put out a song called "Take Me Out."
No.
So she came to the future, killed them, started World War I, and that's how Dracula was born.
Gosh.
It all makes sense when you think about it that way.
I mean, we're jumping the gun a little bit into what the game doesn't do so well, but
what, the story? That's literally the best story of any Castlevania game that we've ever played.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, that's barely not even in the game.
Oh, no. Don't you get it wrong. None of that is in the actual game besides, like, the European map and moving to different cities. If you want any of that story, you better read the handbook.
Like, so the opening cutscene is like, what's her name?
Elise
something. Bartley or something, or Elizabeth Bartlett.
There you, sure.
Bart something.
Elmira Barkley.
They're like a countess, like a countess with like evil intentions wanted to raise Dracula. It's some like, they don't even tell you all of that information about this plot to start World War I so they can harvest souls to resurrect Dracula.
Yeah. We don't need that. Just smash the A button. Let's get going.
Yeah, let's get going. And then you're like, all right, you can, John Morris, my favorite Belmondo.
John Morris.
And then Eric Lacard, which
it's kind of close to Alucard, but
well, his spear is like it's
the Lacard spear.
According to
the game says,
I want to say
Lacard.
Fandom, it's the Alucard spear.
I think
according to the game, it's the
Lacard spear.
It's something. It's some like one or two letters.
It's not spelled the same. I think in the manual they spelled it right. In the game, it's spelled wrong.
Sounds about right. Sounds like a thing that happens often at these games.
Yeah,
but
this was. I mean, localization was not at the level that it is today. These video game companies didn't have like full teams of people taking these poorly translated games and like making them actually make sense, or like checking to make sure the manual and the game itself said the same thing.
Well, the crazy thing, it's not even localization, but the crazy thing is Vampire Killer. I was just playing it today.
That's the Japanese
version of this game. Completely in English.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
You can tell that it's the Japanese version of Castlevania Bloodlines because when you turn the game on and it boots up, it's all in English. And so that's how you know that it's the Japanese version.
Yeah, it's the titles in Japanese. I'm pretty sure the opening cutscene, the menus are in English. I mean,
all of the HUD stuff is in English.
It's like, interesting. Okay, so like, how did the Japanese take to this this version of this game where there's just like...
Well, because the text in the story is such an integral part of the experience, I don't know how they would have even been able to enjoy this game.
Yeah, it is interesting to think like of the times, the other games that the Japanese versions have English text in them, because it's like... I feel like the extent of Japanese text in like US releases is like, this looks really cool. Like, we should put Japanese text on this thing.
Or even just to say like life. And, you know, that tells you how many lives you have. Or start, you know.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of, I had this Gyarados card a few years back. and it was like Mega Gyarados, and it's like doing its attack.
Oh yeah,
and it's in like Japanese characters, and it looks really cool on the card. And then you see the Japanese version, it's English characters, and it's just the name of the attack.
Oh,
it's like, oh, that doesn't really look as cool. I wonder if it's the same effect in different regions. Of like English characters look really cool. Like, do they?
When we were in Thailand, I took a lot of picture T-shirts because people would be like, I want to put English letters on a shirt just because they look cool.
Yeah.
And they very rarely made a whole lot of sense. And it's probably very similar to your friend who has a cool like Japanese tattoo on her ankle. And like she thinks it says like love, but it actually says egg rolls, which is totally fine. Totally fine.
Well, the Japanese language is interesting. The characters have a lot. It's not like English letters.
So I read there's two different kinds. Well, there's more than that, but like you have like the kanji, which are like the actual like Japanese, like what you would think would be.
Yes.
And then there's another style where it's like written out phonetically in English letters, and I don't want to. I have a thing in my head of what I think it's called, but I don't want to say it because it's probably wrong. I've only been to Japan once, but anyway, there is like a thing where it's like written out phonetically.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, one of the I don't know if I'll ever get around to it in my life, but like I've always had this thing where I want to learn Japanese. Yeah. Mostly because I think I just want to play like Japanese retro games. And so I started to read this like beginner Japanese book like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think
how'd that go?
I think I officially showed up to read it like 2 or 3 times. But I got an interesting.
You say showed up to read it like you had an appointment with this thing.
Well, like I pulled it out and I read the book and I was like reading it.
Thursday again. It's my appointment with my Japanese book.
But yeah, it was an interesting introduction to how the characters of the language are like based on like images in the world, like trees or like stuff like that, and they have like meanings.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's interesting. It's
different
than
for
English.
Sure. My sister-in-law, super into it. She's a big gamer, and she minored in Japanese.
Okay.
She just graduated with a degree in geology, but she minored in Japanese.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a thing you can do.
So when I play Famicom games, just send the screenshot to your sister-in-law and be like, "What does this say?"
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she could tell you. I don't know. I don't know how like in depth a minor goes, but
I mean, certainly more than 2 days of reading an intro to Japanese book.
If it's an MINOR or an MINER, because MINERs go very deep. They have to go underground.
All right, that's enough
to
of
get
that.
the ore.
We should get into the fun facts.
Yeah.
Before you keep talking.
Oh, sure. Why don't we do that?
We're a little bit light on the fun today.
Oh, this is we have some somber facts.
Maybe. I mean, developed and published by Konami. That's a somber in regards to. Remember Konami?
Konami. They used to make games.
Yeah, and now they do again, but I don't know
for a long time.
What they're doing.
They were just making pachinko machines for a long time.
I think. Well, they just announced that Metal Gear Solid collection coming out for like all platforms.
I saw that.
So I think you're gonna get your favorite game of all time. The Otaku Convention's coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Can't wait. Can't wait.
I love Metal Gear Solid.
I loved Metal Gear Solid back when it was just a level on Super Smash Bros.
Oh my word. Jordan, this one came out worldwide in March of 1994.
Look at that.
Look at that. It was within a few days of each other.
Wait, three different names.
Doesn't seem to happen almost ever on this podcast when we talk about stuff. And of course, later, this game was released on the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, which is how I played it and you played it. The Genesis Mini and the Switch Online Expansion Pass.
Yeah.
If you want to play this one,
you have opportunities.
The Castlevania Anniversary Collection has Vampire Killer on it.
Yeah.
Play that one.
Yeah.
Please play that one.
I wish I would have known. I would have known that was a thing. I would have played that because you told me that it's a little bit easier. I wish I would have known that. I would have played that version.
As usual. Yeah, you didn't even, like I told you today, like, oh, the Japanese, and you're like, what do you mean Japanese versions? And I was like, what are you talking, like we have talked about this before.
I'm sure we have, but like, this is the thing.
Yes, the Castlevania Anniversary Collection and the Contra Anniversary Collection has Japanese versions of those games.
I do remember talking about the Contra one because we talked about how superior the Japanese version of the original Contra, it has cutscenes, it's easier, you get more lives, all that kind of stuff.
the standard fare for Japanese versus US versions.
Konami Japan just loved their fans a lot more than Konami America, apparently.
I don't know. Jordan, this quote comes from Wikipedia. Development team approached Bloodlines as a unique Castlevania experience tailor-made for the Genesis. In this sense, the gameplay was made more fast and action-oriented.
Okay, I read that too. And then, so I've been playing the game for a while, and then I read that on the Wikipedia page, and then I went back and played a little bit more, and I was like, does this really feel more fast and action-oriented than Castlevania 1, 2, or 3? Definitely more so than 2. But I don't know if I would agree that it's more fast and action oriented.
It is definitely faster. Like I like, to me it's obvious the game moves faster. It's a little, just like a little bit
a little snappier.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. The pacing's a little bit better on. It's not this like slow plodding thing, which Castlevania 1.
It's not like Sonic.
2.
You're not like flying across the screen or anything.
No, but it does feel like it distinctly moves faster.
All right.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that with Bloodlines. I'm like, yeah, this is like a more, just it's what I want out of a castle, like that old school Castlevania experience, but like it feels good to go
faster
back.
and furiouser.
Family.
Castlevania is a game series about family. It really does.
Literally is
fit into the Fast and Furious world in that way. I could see a Castlevania movie starring Vin Diesel and The Rock
as
Eric Lecard and John Morris.
With Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart playing
Dracula.
No, not Dracula. Kevin Hart would be playing, like, I don't know. What would he be playing? I was trying to think of a short character from this game. Maybe he'd be playing like the Bat version of Dracula before he morphs into the tall Dracula.
What's happening? Jordan, of course, we already kind of talked about this, but as per usual, the Western version of the game was more difficult than the Japanese version.
Yeah, what the heck?
I played both today, and I was like, so when I originally played through Bloodlines all the way, I was save scumming. I was getting angry at it. I was like,
can you explain that term for people who may not be?
Oh, save scumming is I was just like making save states like mid boss fight and like
you get a hit, you save. You get a hit, you save.
It kind of, but it's not quite that usually.
Okay.
But it's like I've retried this part and I'm getting angry at it, so I'm gonna make progress. I'm gonna kill an enemy, save,
get a little bit of success,
make progress,
save,
kill an enemy. Oh, I keep dying here, so I'm just gonna like keep moving through this with all of my sub weapons and like.
Gotcha.
I can't be bothered with you anymore, game.
And that's a optimal gaming experience for you.
It is a rage induced. It's not always rage induced, but it is like,
let's get this done.
I need to get through this, and I just don't have the patience.
Yeah.
So that was my initial experience with Bloodlines. So today, to brush up, because that was like a week ago, I was like, I'm gonna play Vampire Killer.
Yeah.
Like I think today I read that it was in English, and I was like, huh? Oh, yeah. It is in English, and like so I was just playing it. And then I got all the way to level 4, stage 4. There's 6 stages in the game.
6 stages. Each stage has sub-stages up to like 11 or 12.
It's classic Castlevania, like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-11. And then you move on to level 2.
There were some in between 1-3 and 1-11, but I get your general gist.
Yeah. So I got all the way up to stage 4, before I had to use a continue.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh.
And then the whole time I was like, wait a minute. This game's like,
it appears
this is great. What was I talking about?
It's easier. You were talking about how it seems like, from what we've been able to tell, there are less enemies and the enemies do less damage.
Yeah, well, that's apparently what it is, right? And so I was just having a lot more fun. And then to make sure that I wasn't crazy, I went back and played the North American version of Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Sure enough, had a worse time. I was like,
this is hard.
Interesting. It's not even that it's hard. It's like I was dying more.
Yeah.
I think the enemies, just doing more damage.
Now, we've said this before, and this seems to be the excuse that comes up most often. Why is this the case that American games are harder than Japanese games or even European games sometimes? And it appears to be because we had a bigger rental market.
Yeah.
The rental places like Blockbuster didn't like that. No, Blockbuster didn't care. Nintendo and Sega didn't like that kids could go rent a game from Blockbuster, beat it in a weekend, and then never have to buy it again. So it's like, well, we make the games hard. They can't just beat it in one rental. They're more likely to go buy the game. And so that was the reasoning behind it, apparently.
I wonder, so this thought just occurred to me. I wonder how companies would prefer things were nowadays. Would they prefer the rental market, or would they prefer that their games sell for $3 on a fire sale on Steam, or like
they have to approve
we want
that,
to sell
right?
this.
They can't like
this $20 thing, but like people are gonna wait till it's $3.50 on sale to buy it. Like, what's worse?
Unless it's a Nintendo first party game. I saw somebody made a meme the other day. It's like, what's better, buying this Nintendo game in 2015 for $50 or waiting to buy it in 2023 when it's $60? It's like, why do Nintendo games never get cheaper? Because apparently they don't play this game that everyone else plays.
Yeah.
It's like Ubisoft will release a game and then like a month later it's like 50% off. It's like, okay, well, I'm never buying one of your games on release ever.
I'm sure companies probably prefer to get $3 for the game instead of no dollars from one copy of it sold to a rental store.
This isn't even just a video game thing. I just saw Bob Iger, the president or CEO of Disney, was just talking about this because during the pandemic, they released Pixar movies like straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And so now families are like, well, I'm not going to pay $50 to take my kids to the movie theater to go see Elemental when I know in 60 days we can watch it at home for our $10 subscription on Disney Plus. And he's like, yeah, that might have been a bad move because people aren't going to see our movies now.
Dude.
And so it's not just video games. Like, this is like everybody. We've gotten to the point where like, we're okay waiting a little bit. Delayed gratification if it means that our wallets are going to be a little bit heavier at the end of the day.
When the Super Mario Brothers movie first like launched on rental services before it was like available physically.
Yeah.
Renting the movie on, I think everywhere, but I think at
like
Amazon specifically, it was like $25 or $27 to like rent the movie. It's like,
well, you get it for 48 hours.
What?
Yeah.
It's like this movie's coming out on Blu-ray in like a month for the same price. Like, why would you rent it for $27?
Yeah. I love going to see movies in the theaters. I have no desire to pay for video on demand, like $30 to rent a movie.
No, not to rent it. I mean, I'll pay $3 to rent a movie once in a while, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it feels bad.
Nope, feels bad.
Anyways, I got one fun fact.
I'm not done with mine.
Let's hear him. No, you go, because you're probably going to say it.
As per usual with Konami games, Jordan.
Yeah.
The game was censored when it was brought to PAL regions where blood...
Yep. That was literally the one I had.
Where blood and violent imagery was removed from the game. And of course, to keep the word blood out of the title, they renamed the game to Castlevania, the New Generation.
Yeah. Bloodlines. No, we can't say Bloodlines, even though it's not referring to actual blood. Like, it is obviously talking about like ancestry, but no, we can't have the word blood. Yeah. So we're going to call it a New Generation. They were big Star Trek fans.
I think it's the New Generation.
The next generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is the next generation of vampire hunters.
And Star Trek fans.
Yeah. What? I mean, is this just a Konami thing? Like, Probotector. We got to do robots instead of soldiers.
You can't say Contra. Contra means against. You can't imply that there's any sort of conflict in this game. Probotector. Yeah. It's a robot protector.
Yeah. Can't have blood in the title. Or,
Why did Konami...
violent imagery. How are you going to play a Castlevania game without violent imagery?
Well, you just be nice to the vampires and the zombies, and then they will take a nap.
I think the fandom site also said Sega gave this like a general audience's rating. I think this might have been like pre-ESRB.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a GA. Like, that's E for everybody.
Yeah.
Castlevania Bloodlines. E for everybody.
Well, it is pretty bloody.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Like you mentioned, like the first couple levels, like there are these zombies. You hit them and they fall to the ground and like their limbs are blood.
It's great.
It's pretty gory.
That's probably the coolest like death animation in the entire game. It's just like the first zombies that you fight in the game.
Yeah. Well, and then the first boss, that like werewolf thing, and like you kill it and it turns into like a mound of like pulsing organs that you have to hit again.
Yeah.
E for everybody.
Yeah. How come they dropped the ball the rest of the game? It was like, we're going to give you knights and skeletons.
Oh, on the bosses?
But no, just like with the cool like gore, the violence, the blood. All you get later on is like half bodies like hanging from chains, dripping.
Mike Wazowski's eyeball connected to a chain, bouncing around the screen.
Harpies.
My Medusa Head's my favorite Castlevania bad guy.
Bad guy. Bad girl. Bad girl.
Bad girls.
Bad girl. That's all my fun facts, Jordan.
Yeah, that was. I wanted to make sure we talked about the fact that they changed the name to get rid of blood.
It's so weird. Then they turned the blood blue in the game.
Listen,
this is water.
Listen, Europe, your continent is responsible for 2 world wars that killed like a gazillion people. Let's not pretend like you don't know what blood is.
One of them was to resurrect Count Dracula.
Yeah, we all know about your whole World War I, resurrecting Count Dracula. But don't say blood.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. It's weird. All right, let's move on to what the game does well. Jordan, the first thing that I have on my list of what this game does well is the controls.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you like
I
about the
immediately
controls?
noticed that the controls in this Castlevania game are way better than the controls in the other Castlevania games we've played. I pointed out to you, like, you can jump up on stairs in this game.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Couldn't do that in the other games. I'm pretty sure you can't even, like, once you're on the stairs, you're just, like, locked.
That
I
is
think
nice.
You can actually jump upstairs. But if you hold, like, the jump button on a set of stairs, like you jump underneath them or you jump onto them, you hold up, like, oh, your character's going to land on the stairs. What a concept. If you just walk off a ledge with stairs on it, you go onto the stair set. I'm pretty sure in old Castlevania games, that treats you like...
You drop straight through if you just walk without holding it over or
No,
down.
I was doing it today.
Dude.
I literally was doing it before we walked in here to record.
I feel like that happened to me. I feel like I fell through stairs.
You probably because you were in the air. But if you just walk off a ledge, you'll like latch onto the stairs, which I'm pretty sure was a new thing.
The
for,
stairs in
I don't know if Castlevania 4 does that.
Or
'cause
Super
that came
Castlevania.
out, Super Castlevania 4, which came out, I think, 3 years prior to this one, which we'll get there maybe someday.
Yeah, this is the thing. The stairs
this
in
one
Castlevania games have been bad. They made them a little bit better this game, but they're still
Tolerable. They made them tolerable.
They're still strange. They still act very bizarrely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that happened to me a lot less in Castlevania Bloodlines was getting knocked through stairs to my death.
Yeah. Yeah. Just hold up and you'll grab onto them.
But yeah, the controls in general, the game is faster paced. They strip down the sub weapons to a handful, which is another thing that I think the game does well. Is it's just like, we don't need the stopwatch. We don't need all of these other. We don't need like the cross.
You're only gonna use holy water anyway, so
we don't need the knives. We don't need all of this stuff. So
you got an axe.
I think you got 3 sub weapons: the axe, the boomerang thing,
holy water,
and the holy water, the fire bombs.
Whatever.
The Castlevania 1 fire bombs. But even those, like, you have 2 different ways of throwing them. If you press up and sub weapon button, you'll do like a super powered up version of it that uses 4 gems, and then you have like the regular version. So overall, like, and then another thing about the controls, you can attack upwards, you can attack diagonally, you can attack downwards. Like,
imagine that, Mega Man. You can attack upwards and diagonally.
Hey, this is Konami, not Capcom.
I know. I'm still kind of spiced up about the whole thing.
Whatever, man. So yeah, the controls, like, the game just lets you attack in more directions. The stairs feel better. Sub weapon controls are good. Is
speaking of improvement over older Castlevania games, this is the 4th Castlevania game we played.
Yes.
So one of the things that always bugged me was the fact that your sub weapons consumed hearts.
Yes.
But your hearts were not your life. It was a secondary thing. And this game finally realized, hey, that's dumb. Let's not do that. Let's have you collect gems and crystals.
Yeah.
And then your sub weapons will consume
more new age,
crystals.
Yeah.
It's still weird. It's still weird, but at least you're not collecting hearts and being like, oh, I'm collecting hearts. I must be getting more life. And then you realize, no, I'm not getting more life.
But you hit candles.
Yeah, you hit a candle. You hit a candle. It drops a rupee. You pick up the rupee and then you can throw it as an axe. It makes perfect sense, you guys. Don't think about it too much.
Yeah. So the problem is that the candles used to drop hearts, which powered your, well, it's like Captain Planet heart.
Yeah. It gives you ammo.
It's the 5th element, heart. It's the fighting spirit.
Okay.
It makes sense, Jordan.
It doesn't make any sense. It never made any sense. This new one makes more sense, but still not perfect sense. Like,
video games don't make sense when you write them on paper or talk about them. in like a practical sense. Like they just don't. All video games sound terrible when you write them down on paper.
Okay, this isn't an essay. This is a podcast. So we're talking about it.
Yeah, but we're talking about what you would write on paper.
I know.
Write
but
about the heart mechanic.
If we were making a video game that had a subweapon and you needed to collect ammo for that subweapon, we wouldn't make a heart be the thing that you collect.
What would we make it?
I don't know. A crystal makes more sense than a heart.
Okay, but it still doesn't make sense. You got a bag full of crystals? Where?
Dude, no, you're right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Well, let's make it make sense. How do we fix this?
You collect. I don't know what you collect.
The souls of the dead.
Sure, that would work.
Yeah,
as
you have a possessed subweapon.
Yeah,
possessed by the souls of the dead.
Yeah,
it's
that
like
works.
I think
make it a little blue flame. We're collecting little blue flames.
I think in Mystery Men, Janine Garofalo's bowling ball has her dad's skull and essence in it or something.
Yeah.
Like we'd just do one of those.
I saw that maybe 25 years ago. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, because you've seen the Smash Mouth music video, which made that movie famous.
No, I saw the movie. I saw the movie when I was a kid. I liked that Adam Sandler was the spleen.
Adam Sandler?
Who was it? I don't know.
Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller. I told you, it's been 25 years, man.
Shout out to Mystery Men. Is that a movie that anybody's watched since it came out?
The shoveler, the spleen.
You remember more about it than I do.
The bowler.
I just remember Janine Garofalo's bowling ball right now because it's relevant to Castlevania.
There you go. What else did I like? I thought the graphics looked really great. Obviously, a major step up from Castlevania 3, Castlevania 1, 2. I even went and looked at Super Castlevania, played a little bit of that, and I like the graphics in this one better.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were like, oh, Super Castlevania has better graphics. Wrong. I don't agree. They're like not saturated at all.
Not your opinion. They're just wrong.
No, I'm saying they're wrong. Yeah. Like the sprite work in Bloodlines is better. The color saturation is better. It's way less busy. They do a better job of separating the foreground and the background. I liked everything about the graphics.
Not always, but yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying compared to Super Castlevania 4, I personally think subjectively that the graphics are the best of the Castlevania series to that date that this came out.
Well, this was the newest
I understand that. But there's obviously going to be some like 16-bit rivalry between the Super Nintendo version and the
3 years later.
Okay, dude. I'm just saying people out there will stand for the Super Nintendo version.
Oh, okay. I mean, whatever. Yeah, but in addition to your point about the graphics being good, there's a lot of cool visual effects. Like there's like reflective water and like they do some interesting stuff later on visually where it's just like, oh, okay. Like I see you. Like I'm impressed that I can see my character in the water right now. Just there's something that the game doesn't do so well, which is a visual effect, but generally it's cool that the game has visual effects.
Yeah.
Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Oh, yeah, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Uh-huh.
Which brings us to my third point about what this game does so well. And I really like
Castlevania European Tour.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool. It kind of reminded me of like Street Fighter or Rampage, where like after each level you see the map and you travel to a new country or city or whatever. And like we had Romania, Italy, which was the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You had Greece, which was like Atlantis for some reason, Germany, France, England, and it made the game feel like a more varied experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The previous games are very like, we are in Transylvania, we're in a castle that also for some reason has gears everywhere. And this felt like every level had its own identity.
Gears were spread throughout Europe.
It just felt like each level was its own thing.
Whole Europe was steampunk.
There weren't that many gears in this game. I don't even remember gears in this game.
There are gears in this game.
Not like to the
You
same
were too busy
level.
spearing your way up the levels to have to even jump on the gears.
Oh, that's true. So we should say I played mostly as Eric Lacard with the big spear. He's got like a long pike kind of spear that lets you attack halfway across the screen. Dan played more as, what was his face?
Jonathan Morris. That's how I scummed through the game. It's just traditional Castlevania style with a whip.
With the whip, with the Vampire Slayer whip.
And then I played Vampire Killer with Eric. And I was like, this character is way more fun. This is way better.
He's really strong. He can attack a really long distance. He can do this like pole vault thing where you power up and jump really high up into the air off of his spear. Mm-hmm. It's pretty rad. Does it feel like Castlevania? No,
that's what I was. That's where I was about to go. Is just like Castlevania to me feels very much like whips.
You need the whip, yeah.
At least prior to Symphony of the Night. After Symphony of the Night, you get gear and swords and spells and all kinds of fun things. It really changes a lot. But
I don't know. I feel like the whip needs to be an important part of this.
I mean, it is in these old school Castlevanias before the Metroidvania genre kind of kicked off.
You tell me once we get to Metroidvania versions of Castlevania, we don't get whips anymore?
I don't know if there's a whip in
it's not like the primary weapon, is what you're saying.
Well, you're playing as Alucard, so.
Oh.
Why would...
Did he get a spear?
Why? No, he's like uses a sword and stuff.
All right.
You can change your weapons. There's lots of weapons.
His mouth is a bunch of swords. Why wouldn't he just use that?
Symphony of the Night's great. Is great. I don't know what you were talking about, but Jordan, you know what I like about this game?
What's that, Dan?
Different candles. There are two different types of candles in this game. Did you notice this? So one of the points of frustration sometimes in Castlevania is I have a sub weapon that I really like.
Yeah.
Ah, crap. I hit a candle and it dropped this sub weapon that I didn't want on me.
Okay.
This game has one thick candle to tell you there is a weapon in it.
Yeah.
And then two thin candles to tell you there's a gem or something else. I like that.
That's nice.
I like it a lot.
You get the sub weapon you want.
Things,
You don't accidentally pick up something dumb. Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This game just did a lot. It took the stuff that we like from Castlevania and gave you some quality of life improvements.
Yeah. Not really like a quality of, well, it's not really like an innovation for the series, but also like different characters. I like that I could choose Jonathan Morris or Eric Lecard, and then like they both have different paths through the levels.
Yeah.
Jonathan Morris can like use his whip to Indiana Jones, which I think I entered a password off the internet to like, I ran out of continues or some nonsense. And I ended up in, I think, a Jonathan area with Eric. And I was like, how do I, like...
You were stuck.
I was stuck, and I didn't realize, like, oh no, in the room before this, you needed to go a different direction.
I did that one time. I walked into a room. I was like, I can't get through here. And then that was when I learned about the pole vaulting. I had to go back to the previous room and start pole vaulting up.
It lets you go back to the previous room, because I didn't try.
It does, yeah. Well, okay. if we're talking about the same space, which we may not be.
Well, there was one space. I think that spot was where I learned that you could Indiana Jones whip, because I don't think I knew about it before that. And I was like,
that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, this is cool.
We've had a whip for a while, and we haven't used it to swing across a gap like Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia.
Indiana Jones.
Same guy. They're both played by George Lucas, right? LucasArts.
This is a point and click game.
Yeah.
By LucasArts.
Yeah. What's the name of Lucasfilms is the movie company?
Yep, video games.
What else do you think the game did well, Dan?
The difficulty in starting lives options. This game will like let you start off. You could play it at easy or normal, and then you can start with 3 or 5 lives. And I'm like, dude, I'm normal on 5 lives.
Not only am I bummed that I didn't play the Japanese version, but I'm also bummed that I didn't look at the options.
And always look at the options first. That's literally anytime you get. I want to say 80+% of the time, the first thing I do in a video game is we'll look at the options menu.
I'm gonna go check out the sound menu.
Yeah, well, it's not even the sound menu, but it's like, it's just a thing. You just gotta check out the options before you dive in. What's here?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that you can give yourself more lives and more continues and all that kind of stuff, and change the difficulty. I wish I would have known that you could do any of that.
The game is still hard. Apparently, if you beat this one on easy, the punishment is we only show you the
Is it a fake ending?
No, it's not a fake ending, but apparently they only show you the ending for 3 seconds.
Oh.
And then they go
you don't
away.
you don't deserve to see this.
So what happens too is you beat the game on normal, and then you unlock expert mode, and then the ending of expert mode gives you like an extra screen. So rewarding.
Somebody was saying online that the expert mode in the Japanese version is the normal mode in the American version. So that's cool. Love that for us.
Yeah, I don't know. Japanese version is so much more fun.
If I had a time machine, I wouldn't use it for this. But if I got real bored after a long time, I might go back to the 90s and tell video game companies to just stop. Just stop it.
Just stop it. Don't do this. You'll sell more copies.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, you won't.
Yeah.
Sell more used copies in 40 years.
Yeah.
Jordan, boss fights don't suck in this game.
No, I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, I liked. Didn't feel like a tedious headache before stage 6.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was enjoying the boss
Yeah.
fights. I thought that they were all pretty good, pretty fun. And then you get to the boss gauntlet, and then like the world 6 or level 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
You fight like every boss over again.
It's rough.
You fight the road tripping niece of Dracula, and she's got like 18 forms. And then you fight Dracula's 18 forms. I didn't make it. I couldn't make it through the gauntlet. I tried my best. I played it many times. I made it all the way to like the second to last boss and just couldn't get there.
Gotta save scum.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like it. Like I was like, I don't want to like, I'm having a pretty good time with this game. I don't want to like ruin it by like trying to, I don't know. It just didn't seem like it would be fun to do.
That's a very different attitude than I have. I'm having a pretty bad time with this game. I think I'm going to make it worse by just sitting here in my.
It didn't. So I thought I was on.
frustration.
I thought I was on the last boss.
Yeah.
And then I came here and you were like, no,
No.
there was Dracula still to fight. I thought if I kill his niece, you won't be able to resurrect him, and then I won't have to fight Dracula.
Too late. Yeah, I loaded up. The save happened to be in the middle of Dracula's last phase, so I got to show you what you missed, and it looked like you were really bummed to have missed.
No, I'm kidding.
Giant distorted bat demon.
It's like a big demon
flaming
who has like a
thing.
head in the wrong place. It's uncomfortable. I love it.
I died, and I showed you the beginning of Dracula again, which is like just the classic boring Dracula fight. He's opening his cape, shooting
You hit
fireballs.
him, and he's moving really quick, and you're trying to hit him before he moves. And
for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is.
We've done it. I've done it.
Yeah.
I beat him in the, well, I don't know if I beat him. I've beat him before in at least a
I don't think you
Castlevania game.
have.
Yeah,
I
bro,
don't think you
I
ever
beat him in
killed
the
Dracula.
first Dracula.
I don't think you beat him in the second.
Second one?
Yeah,
Okay.
where he doesn't do anything but like bounce
No.
around.
I did. I remember I beat him in the first one because you could just chuck holy water at him and it would stun lock him. And then they fixed that in subsequent games.
Yeah, it's a real problem.
You can beat every boss in the first
Why
game
did they
if
make
you
the
have
game
holy
less
water.
fun? Just let me stun lock everything.
Let me just stun lock the boss.
Stun lock everything.
I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom.
I think it's
And-
tears.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, Tares, and if you're a normal person like me, you're just like, no, like
Okay.
most of us are playing this game and like going and killing the bad guys with swords. But if you go on the internet, there's a whole like group of people who call themselves Hyrule Engineering, who can like create these giant mech robots, and I've seen people like pilot these things into boss fights and like 500 lasers shoot out and they just kill bosses in one hit. And like that's basically the modern version of stun locking a boss. Like I'm going to create a giant mech suit to just wreck this boss.
That sounds like the Breath of the Wild community. It's like every once in a while, before Tears of the Kingdom came out, you would still see articles pop up on Nintendo Life about some stupid, insane, like...
Dude beats Ganon with a ladle.
like, oh, those ships flying around in the air that you're not supposed to be able to get to. Somebody found a way.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. There's a lot of systems that play in, and I wonder how many of these Nintendo actually intended to be exploited the way that these are.
It just got even crazier once they let people build an F-16 in the game out of like materials that you can find laying around.
I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't even really like looked into it much beyond like headlines, but it seems insane to me that you would be able to even do all that stuff.
The good news is it's very fun, even for those of us who don't have advanced engineering degrees.
Well, how do you build an F-16? Like, what is the...
That was like joke, but I mean like you can... Like,
was it?
I mean, I haven't seen it. I did see somebody who built like a kind of like a big plane thing that after a while it despawns and then drops like a secondary unit out of it that is like what are those VTOL, like vertical takeoff helicopter kind of things that had like a whole mount of lasers on it. And so he flies the big like carrier into the air with the boss, and then it despawns and drops this like vertical lift helicopter thing with all these lasers. It's like, how do you even come up with that?
Okay, but no, like how do the mechanics allow you to literally build that?
You build two different things and you put one inside of another, and
It just lets you do it?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're a big brain genius, I saw somebody who built a four stage rocket. So normally when you build rockets, they only go a certain distance up into the air, and so he built this thing that was four like pieces of a rocket that interconnected without actually being connected, so they wouldn't all despawn at the same time. So the first thing blasts off, and then all these rockets despawn. He hits the next one, it takes off and drops away, just like watching like an actual, NASA or what's Elon Musk's rocket ship. This is a multi-stage rocket that somebody built in this video game. And it's like, is a normal person going to do that? No, but I'm really glad that I can go online and watch big brain geniuses play this game in a way that I never will. And I kind of hope this will never happen because it's Nintendo, but I kind of hope that someday you can have like an upload system where I can like download other people's creations. That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah. And if anybody's wondering how my Legend of Zelda experience is going, I just got off the Great Plateau like a month ago in Breath of the Wild. So I'm like 2 or 3 hours into it. I could play some more of it.
Yeah, you said you had a hankering to play some more, which is a big improvement over.
It's fun.
I
didn't start it. I wasn't trash talking it. I never wanted to start it because I didn't want to drop it.
Okay.
I want to be committed to finishing Breath of the Wild, and I'm already like, I haven't played it in like 2 weeks. So
for 6 years, you were like talking like, this game's no good.
No, stop.
You weren't giving it the time.
Anyways, all right, that's enough about Zelda. Let's talk about a real franchise. Let's talk about Castlevania. Let's move on to what this game doesn't do so well.
Okay. All right, my first thing for what this game doesn't do so well kind of ties into what we've been talking about. I also love that you can play two different characters in this game.
Yeah.
That kind of got introduced in Castlevania 3, where we had all these different characters and you could go through the game and you could pick different party members and switch between them. And I really like that. And so in this game, I'm like, oh, cool, we have two new characters. You got John Morris, who is not a Belmont, I don't think.
I think he's a descendant of the Belmonts.
Maybe, okay. But he's got the whip, and he's the son of Quincy Morris, who is a character from the Dracula novel, this is the very first time that the video games ever crossed over with the actual book, which that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's like, I think...
Just the name.
I think the fandom, like... Or it might have been Wikipedia. One of those sites was like, it's not really connected. They were just trying to like allude to it as kind of a thing.
I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's an Easter. It's an Easter egg.
Maybe.
And then you got Eric Lecard, like we said, he's got the big spear. So like you have these two characters. They have very different play styles. What I don't like is that I wish it was more like Castlevania 3 where you could switch between the characters. Instead, you get locked into playing one for your entire playthrough.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of this game. I played it all with Eric Lecard, and then I had to like go back and play a little bit with John Morris. You basically get two completely different ways to play the same game. I would have liked it if each beginning of each stage you'd had those 6 different opportunities to switch and change characters, or even do it like a party system where you could flip on the fly and then you could kind of choose which path to go with based on which character you wanted to pick. I like that they had the two characters. I like how different they are, but I don't like that you got locked into playing as one, especially after playing Castlevania 3 where that wasn't the case.
I almost wish like you could have changed, like even at the continue screen, like pick your character or whatever. Yeah. That would have been cool, but I mean, there is a sense of maybe some replay value to it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But
I like...
Because it is a different experience with each one.
Yeah, it's completely different.
So like I definitely like that you can play it how you want, like traditional Castlevania style or like the fun way.
You could still have the replay value of like trying to do a full run with either character and still allow people to switch back and forth within one play.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, agree, I guess.
All right. I'm just saying. That was a little bit of a bummer to me.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Story. The story not so great.
I think the story itself is actually really cool. But the fact that none of it's in the game is kind of lame. Like, especially because it makes sense. Like, if they took the story that's in the manual and just give us a line, one line before each stage, you could have told this story. Because there's not a whole lot to it. It would have put it into the game. You all of a sudden, like, if you know, I'm trying to stop World War I, that's pretty cool.
But even an opening cutscene, like, there's like...
No, it's bad. I agree with you. It's bad. Like, it could have been good.
The opening cutscene is even like, wait, what? Like, it's like this old magician lady resurrected on purpose or on accident, depending on, I think, which version you ask.
Okay.
Resurrected this niece of Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Who then assassinated the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. It's just like I wrote down the story based on what was actually in the game itself.
It's not good. It's not good
outside of it. But that's how it normally goes, though, with retro games.
I think the manual version of the story is fun, we talked a lot about it. It's a cool little thing to tie into history. And like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, Vampire Killer, Vampire Slayer. You ever seen that movie? Whatever it's called.
No.
It takes like real stuff from the Civil War and like explains it by saying, oh, this was like because the Confederate Army was full of these undead legions. And it's like, they don't change any of the history, but just like letting you in on like, this is what was actually happening. And I thought that was really cool. You could have had that same kind of thing here, but they just dropped the ball by not even attempting to put it into the actual game.
You just reminded me of that trend that was like 10, 15 years ago of like, let's take historical books and make them into horror.
Pride and Prejudice.
And zombies. Yeah. And I think that there is a...
Sense and Sensibility. And sea monsters.
I think that there's a movie on my shelf, which I have not watched yet, that I got for probably very cheap from a disc replay. Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies is what I think it's called.
It's not Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, the one I was just talking about?
I don't think so. I think it's a different one. Because I like zombie movies. Don't really care for vampire movies very much.
Okay.
I don't know.
What about vampire movies that make the vampires zombies, like I Am Legend?
Man, I haven't seen I Am Legend in a very long time.
Yeah.
Fun fact: the band He Is Legend got their name from I Am Legend, but they were talking about the guy in I Am Legend. That's why they said He Is Legend.
Yeah.
That's how they got their name.
I went in. I was trying to one year read through the top 100 post-apocalyptic novels of all time.
What's number one?
I don't know.
The Road?
I don't know. No, it wouldn't have been number one because I think I started at the top and I didn't read The Road, thankfully, because I've heard that will make you no longer want to live on this planet. But
I've seen the movie.
One of the top post-apocalyptic novels was I Am Legend, and I read it, and it is, you couldn't be more different than the movie from the book.
That's kind of how it goes, right?
Yeah. Like in the book, the spoilers, I guess, for a book that's like 40 years old, but the book, he is the last human on Earth and everybody else is a vampire. And he basically is the bad guy because everybody else is happy to be vampires because everybody's a vampire. And so every night, every day while they're asleep, he's basically the scary bad guy who's coming to kill all of the vampires.
How are the vampires alive if there's only one human? What are they living off of? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's like they've all converted. They're happily living as vampires and he's the bad guy. Yeah, but what do they eat? I don't know. Vegetables? Bro, I don't know. They've converted. They're happily living as vampires. And this guy is the bad guy, basically.
Anyways, let's get back to Castlevania.
We're talking about vampires. How more Castlevania could you get?
We could be talking about the game that this podcast is about.
One of the things I didn't like about this game was, holy crap, there's a lot of slowdown. Dude,
I didn't have that much.
So much slowdown.
Definitely when you get your level 3 weapon when you're playing like really good.
Yeah.
And it's like you either have like the flaming spear or like the electric looking whip, and then you're like, let me shoot energy balls which cost 8 crystals.
Yeah.
And like slowdown for sure then. But like other than that, I didn't have a ton of slowdown.
Dude, I had a lot. And this is another reason why I feel like the Vampire Killer would be a better game to play, because there's just less enemies on screen, so you're gonna have less slowdown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't.
Bro, after how much crap you gave Kirby about slowdown, and now you're going to pretend Castlevania Bloodlines ran so good, 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second.
Castlevania Bloodlines to the worst performing game in the history of the podcast.
No chance, bro.
We have not.
No shot. Get out of here.
The only game that has more slowdown than Kirby's Adventure is Ninja Turtles 2.
That's bad.
Which is a game that I like, but now on the Cowabunga collection, you can play it with the slowdown turned off.
Hey, let's get back to Castlevania, man.
Phenomenal.
You're way off.
Can we just talk about Ninja Turtles? Have you seen the trailer for that new movie?
There's vampires in that one?
Yeah.
The movie looks pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. It's very exciting. Looks like Into the Spider-Verse.
No, it's got its own art style.
Yeah, I like that movies are now like doing crazy art styles.
We're not just making, hey, look, it's people, but with big noses. Like for every animated movie for like the last 10 years, it's been like, oh, look, it's a person. But guess what? Their face is strangely proportioned.
Now the movie just looks like a comic book. It's great.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm cool with it. I like it.
All right, back to Castlevania.
All right, last one.
All right.
This is going to be controversial, I think. For some people.
Do you want me to go for?
No, I'm kind of interested to hear what you think. So, like, I had to Google this to see, like, am I like, is this a thing that people agree with? So I'm playing, and I'm like realizing, there's something weird about this. What's going on? Like, I normally am like pretty like loving my time with Castlevania.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on here? And I realize I haven't even like thought once about the music.
Yeah.
And so like I went and looked, I was like, do people like the music from this game? And people love the music from this game. And I'm thinking, it's got nothing on the NES Castlevania games that we've played.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of a letdown to be like, it was just lacking. It did not hit like those classic Castlevania soundtracks that I've come to expect.
I can't hum anything from this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah,
but that's the thing. In the past, you play Castlevania.
It's not bad.
You're like, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na, and like it's in your head, and you're like, I can't get that out of my head. And now it's like, could you even hum a single bar from this that wasn't like
original
reprise?
Castlevania?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, the music is just straight down the middle for me. Like it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but people
I
love it.
It's good if you listen to it, but it doesn't jump out at you as like part of the experience of this game. I don't think.
No, I was kind of bummed by that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice it, to be honest, until you just said something.
Well, but that's bad if you play a Castlevania game and you're not like jamming because.
Well, let's be honest. It's Konami in the NES era.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Come on.
You go and look at like a list of the top 10 Castlevania soundtracks, and this will be above those ones that we love.
I don't know, man.
I'm just telling you. I went and looked at them, and I was shocked.
Konami chiptunes, maybe the Beatles of the NES era.
Yeah,
like could be.
Could be.
Could be.
I don't know. Maybe I'm super biased towards that like classic 8-bit chiptune sound. But...
No, it's a valid point. I mean,
thank you.
I don't think it's necessarily like the soundtrack was bad, but you were disappointed that the soundtrack was not as good as you've come to expect.
It wasn't bad. It was just very average for me personally.
Yeah. Jordan, some of the sprites did blend into the background here.
Yeah.
In this game.
I didn't have that issue, but
there was like a time or two where I was like, where am I supposed to go? Or I might have fallen off a ledge or something. And it's just sometimes Castlevania does that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Is this gear in the foreground or the background?
I think that might have been the gears were one area.
Oh, that's probably why I didn't notice it because the Lacard dude didn't have the gear sections as much as because those are what you were usually whipping over.
Sometimes like it looked like this, like there's one part of the game where there's like these spiky wheels that are in the background that look like they're spinning towards the screen.
Yeah,
and they look like they would hurt you. But they weren't. They're just background element. They look like a foreground element.
That's not good.
So yeah, sometimes the game looks great overall.
Yeah. Oh, it does.
But like you do have a few moments in it where you're like, what's going on here? So this is just a minor gripe. Gripe.
Yep.
And speaking of sprites, at stage 6, there's a section in stage 6 where they do this. It's really novel at first and cool.
Oh yeah.
And then it's really annoying because so they do this staggered thing where there's the
screen is split up into 3 sections basically.
The top and the bottom section are the same.
Yep.
And then the middle section distorts where it looks like it's farther to the right than it is.
Yeah, so imagine the screen is split up into 3 sections. The middle section is shifted over probably about 20%.
Yeah.
And as you move up into that section, your body gets kind of split, and it doesn't affect, like, you're still jumping onto platforms, but it just like messes with your brain. And it was kind of cool at first, but it went on too long.
Because Medusa heads.
Yes.
Like, okay, I can handle, like,
one of the trickiest enemies in the
brains, game. And then now you're throwing Medusa heads in this thing where it's
they
like
bob
you can't
up and
tell
down.
where they are
because
of the way it's distorted. And so I found that section really frustrating. And that's where I stopped Vampire Killer, was I had gotten through that section a time or two, but right after that section, upside down level.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, okay, let's make the screen upside down after we just tripped your brain out.
Yeah, and then your like, controls are reversed. Your the whole screen is flipped upside down.
The controls are partially reversed.
Oh.
Since you're upside down, up ducks and down does what up normally does.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're still walking left to right like normal.
Oh, good
and
point.
so it's like...
It's just inverted
it's
or flipped.
A trip. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is too much at once. Also, you're walking to a giant boss gauntlet. Stage 6, not so much of what the game does well.
No.
Probably the worst.
I agree. I think I was enjoying the game a fair amount until getting to 6, and then it kind of fell apart.
Yeah. It's too hard. Like, it's just too hard.
Yeah.
And I like hard games, but, like...
I don't. Give me baby mode. Where's Funky Kong when you need him?
Oh, man. Yeah. So, I don't know. Just stage 6 in general, I guess, was just kind of a bummer. It's like...
Yeah.
What if we had 17? The mini bosses, like every stage has like.
Oh yeah, that was weird
bosses.
too.
Like,
you
like
fight a boss.
Like,
is this the real boss or is this a mini boss?
Mini boss. There's like 2 mini bosses, I think, in some levels.
Yep.
And it's like, okay.
And some of them were like legitimately good bosses.
Yeah.
And you're like, this must be the boss. And then you beat it. And it's like, no, okay,
nope.
I didn't get the orb thing. I had to keep walking.
Giant golem walking slowly towards you is the boss.
That one wasn't great. I don't
Cog monster.
Was there a way to avoid
Man.
that giant golem without it walking into you, or you're gonna lose life if you don't kill him in time?
I didn't really.
Maybe with
he doesn't. I don't think he goes all the way to the left.
Oh, okay.
I think he will like hit the roof and walk backwards sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
You got to knock all of his midsection
cool.
off.
Yeah.
Until you can hit his head.
Yeah.
Or have the axe to hit his head while he's.
I did like most of the bosses in this game, though.
Well, the boss fights were not like super cheap, obnoxious things.
No, and they were all
not normal.
Fairly different.
Yeah. So boss fights good. Stage 6, like
fighting. I didn't need to fight them all again.
Yeah. So stage 6, they're like, let's trip your brain with this like weird third of a screen where it's not great. Let's make you go through an upside down section. Okay. Let's make you fight death, which is going to make you fight a gauntlet of a bunch of the bosses that you already fought in the game. The really annoying like bat thing that spins around and you're on a tower and it's knocking you down and whipping you with the tail.
Yeah.
That bomb's okay, but like kind of annoying. And then you're going to go fight Dracula's niece and she's going to turn to a snake thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you're going to go fight Dracula. Oh, you died. Hope you have a continue because we're only going to give you 2 continues to get through this game.
Yeah.
Stage 6, kind of a downer ending, but anyway.
Yep, not great.
But overall, fun game.
Yeah. This is interesting. Where does this fall for you out of the 4 Castlevania games that we've played?
Might be my favorite. I don't know.
Really?
Could be, possibly. Might be.
Oh, man.
I think so.
I was kind of feeling that at first.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what it was because there's nothing that jumps out to me that's like, this is so much worse than the other ones, other than like the music. But like just the overall experience, I ended up having so much less fun than Castlevania 3, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I was like, today I had the thought, I was like, I should probably listen to the Castlevania podcast that we did. But I don't remember how I felt about Castlevania 3. I think I liked it.
I ranked it just like, I enjoyed Castlevania 1. I didn't really love Castlevania 2. I ranked Castlevania 3 just like a little bit above Castlevania 1. And then this one, I didn't get that same like, man, I love this kind of vibe.
Yeah, there's something about it that I'm not necessarily like, I want to keep playing this, or like, Castlevania 1 was like, oh, I want to, out of spite, I want to beat this game without dying. And then I kind of like got this weird affinity for it just by brute force. Castlevania 3, I think I was like, I'm interested in speedrunning this. Like I might want to come back to this to play it over and over again.
Did you feel that with this one?
As I'm thinking about it, I don't necessarily feel that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was a more polished experience than the original Castlevania. And so that's what I think I like better about it, is more polish.
Yeah. And definitely still worth playing. Like I love that it's on the collection. I've honestly, I think that my Switch says I've played like almost 20 hours of the Castlevania collection. Like that means I've gotten my money worth out of it.
Yeah.
So it's
how many hours you got on Tears of the Kingdom?
115 or something like that. 115, I don't know.
My friend who is so busy has put 115 hours.
Almost all of those hours were before my crazy summer kicked off. I haven't played it.
To be fair, those were all opening weekend.
A lot. A lot. I think I don't know. I'd put a lot of hours in. I played too much of it, but it's a great game.
I've played like 3 hours of Breath of the Wild, so I think I've gotten a taste for the franchise.
Yeah, well, I don't remember if we said this in the last episode or not, but I've already put more hours into Tears of the Kingdom than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I played multiple saves, and I'm getting close to the end of the game, but not. I'm like, there's still a ton to do.
We gotta stop talking about Zelda.
Yeah, we do. All right.
You'll talk about it all day. All right, let's move on to the rest of our show.
All right, Dan. What would you pay for the experience that you had with Castlevania Bloodlines?
What would I pay for Castlevania Bloodlines? Physical cartridge on the Sega Genesis?
Sure.
Who games like that these days?
Who does? Who are you savages?
A large percentage of our audience, maybe. Man, I don't know. I don't like what my gut told me.
No, go with it. What's your gut say?
My gut said $7, but I'm like, I don't know.
That checks out, dude, because
it's a weird, because I like I said, it's more polished and probably more fun because of the polish and pacing of it than the other Castlevania games. But there's something like I feel kind of smushy is the word that's like rolling there.
I wonder if I don't know, this is just a thought. Are we more lenient on 8-bit games because they're like very obviously older, whereas a lot of games that come out today are trying to emulate this 16-bit style. And so we've seen a lot of awesome 16-bit games, and so we're harder on old ones because they don't live up to our modern 16-bit games, whereas 8-bit games are very obviously a thing of their time. And like not many people, I mean, you have like Celeste, you have Towerfall, you have people who are emulating 8-bit games, but it's not to the same extent of 16-bit games. Maybe that's part of it.
I don't think there's any like
comparison thing going on.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with like the eras of the games. The thing that popped in my head as you were saying that was, I think Arkham Knight is the best of the Arkham trilogy, but my favorite is still Asylum and City. So it's like, I like those first two games better. I like the first one the best, and it's like the worst of the trilogy in some ways.
But it's like the one that introduced it.
It's the one that introduced it. It was like, oh, the Batman the Animated Series cast is doing the thing. It's a different game. It's more of a linear experience. It's not open world. But Arkham Knight was like this beautiful experience that was super polished and huge, and you're driving the Batmobile. I'm like, this is clearly the best quality of these games, but it's the one that I like the least. So I almost feel like maybe there's some of that going on here where I'm just like, yeah, this is great, but there's more of an attachment to those older.
Yeah, well, subjective preferences aren't always rational.
Agree to disagree with me. I don't know if you know me very well, but I try to rationalize everything, Jordan. You know, I think emotions are things to be put in a box somewhere else. And analysis of video games is something that should go on a spreadsheet.
We are not. This is a disclaimer. Do not take emotional advice from this podcast.
I am not a licensed therapist. I took a course on Udemy. I have a Udemy certificate on therapy that says, in theory, I'm educated. The course was like $6, so I don't even know how legit it was.
You'd pay more for Castlevania Bloodlines than for that course, so just keep that in mind.
We're not professionals. Don't take nutrition or health or financial advice from us. This podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. If you're not entertained, then stop listening.
Yeah, what are you doing? We're like an hour into this thing. All right. So $7 is what you're saying.
It's got to be less than that. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh.
Yeah. So like you figure 1994.
Yeah.
The Genesis is on its way out.
Okay.
Castlevania, a notoriously high-selling franchise. I think this game sold 30 million copies.
Okay.
I think it's in Sonic 2 territory. So you got to be able to get a copy of this for like $3.
Oh, I'm not asking what you think it's worth. I was asking what would you pay
He has
for
no
it?
idea
Bro,
what I've been saying for the last 5 minutes.
I'm like, none of it made any sense to me, so I'm
he
sure
just
it
wasn't
made sense to
listening.
you. No,
he wasn't listening. He was looking at his phone.
This is what I'm doing.
Waiting for me to stop talking. So
no, I am
instead
scrolling,
of making sense of all of the things that I was just saying.
I'm scrolling through my Castlevania 3 notes.
He's on Facebook.
Trying to figure out what did I say I would pay for Castlevania 3.
He's on Facebook looking at what Uncle Terry said about politics, and he's like,
oh,
it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Uncle Terry,
like, what are you doing? Like, why? Just why?
Uncle Terry,
like, you're like, what's the muting on Facebook or whatever?
Unfollow, just temporarily. You can unfollow for 30 days.
Like the thing that you can like. I'm not gonna unfriend you, but like I don't see your stuff.
Yeah, it's called
the shadow ban.
Unfollow. I don't know what to say. If you're binging our Castlevania series, I want you to understand.
We're talking to Netflix to get our episodes actually turned into a bingeable.
Yeah,
series.
They're going to be animating them and turning them into. It's actually going to be anime, and yeah, it's going to be really real dope. Anyway, less than whatever I said for Castlevania 3 because. Well, like you said, this game is fun. It's good. It's worth playing, especially if you have the collection. I love that I have the collection.
You should absolutely play this. This should be essential retro game reading.
But like, don't play this one first. Like, go play Castlevania 1 and 3. You can skip 2.
Sega Genesis games to play before you die.
Yeah, there we go. So all that being said, I don't know how to quantify it. You said
$2
7
as usual.
It's not. No, it's more than 2. Like I feel like this is more than 2.
Ooh.
Like I'm feeling 4. 4 is my gut. But if I said less than that for Castlevania 3, then flip it around. I don't know.
We should probably just talk about the prices that like actual collectors.
Yeah. So Dan,
to spend on Castlevania
what
Bloodlines.
do you think? What do you think that a loose copy of Castlevania Bloodlines is going for?
Like $70.
Yeah, you hit it. It's $68.
Yeah.
When I looked at these prices a week ago, it was $68. If it's jumped a lot since then, sue me.
Not yet. The episode's not out yet.
Oh yeah, good point. What do you think a complete copy is going for?
Shanks just got a complete copy. He posted that on
Discord.
Did he? Maybe. I don't even know. I feel like
maybe you dreamed it.
Maybe I dreamed it, or maybe it was in the Castlevania Bloodlines channel on our Discord.
Yeah.
But I feel like he acquired that recently. And I was like,
well, let's guess what it is and then we can judge him.
$200.
No, not quite. $159.
$159. That was
so
I thought my gut it was originally in there and I was like, that can't be right.
Apparently, Dan, there are 2 versions of this.
Apparently, there are 2 versions of Castlevania Bloodlines.
And I've never been on live television before. So there's like the regular plastic Genesis box version.
Oh, and the cardboard schmooshy trash.
Cardboard version. What do you think?
Come on.
This is the funny part.
Come on.
This is funny.
You have these nice plastic clamshell.
Just wait, though.
Come on.
What do you think a loose copy of the cardboard version? Like, you don't even get... Dan.
The label is slightly different. Yeah. That's how you can tell the difference.
Or maybe just the serial number. I don't know. What do you think a loose copy of the cardboard version? You don't get the cardboard, but you do get the game.
You don't get the cardboard, but you get the version.
Yeah. What do you think it's going for?
$90.
$118. It's dumb. Almost double the price. Yeah, exactly. And then if you actually do have the cardboard, what do you think it's going for?
Probably more like $250.
Yeah, you'd think that the cardboard version that surely wouldn't last as long as the plastic version would be more expensive because there can't be that many of them out there, right?
Jordan, let me tell you about collectors.
They're dumb. They're dumb.
Stop.
They're dumb. You're dumb. Hey, dumb people. Wow. Stop collecting.
Jordan's dumb too in his own ways.
I am dumb. We're all
let's be
dumb.
All right, stop throwing shade.
No, I'm dumb too.
At the collectors. Let's shine the spotlight on how dumb you are.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it.
I'm not going to, I mean, you're my friend. I'm not going to sit here and offend you in front of.
No, I want it.
In front.
Tell me, Dan, how am I dumb? We did this last time. You dunked on me for my Goodreads obsession.
I didn't dunk on you for your Goodreads. You dunked on me for having email notifications.
Dude, every time I finish a book now, I'm like, Dan just got an email. And like, is it when
it's like once or twice a week.
Okay.
What are your friends reading? I'm only
finishing a book like once or twice a week, so that makes sense.
I know what you're doing.
I just want to make sure.
You're always reading some fiction series that I haven't heard of, or some nonfiction book.
Well, there you go. That covers them all. Oh, fiction, nonfiction, historical fiction. You would think that a cardboard one would cost more than a plastic one, but it's actually only $132 for a complete copy of the cardboard one. And if you are a sane human being in 2023 who is buying this game, you're buying the collection, which is $20, frequently goes on sale for $10.
Less than that. It goes on sale for probably, I think, $3 to $4.
No.
I think $3.50.
No chance.
All right. Well,
Okay.
let's PS prices this.
Yeah, do it. I dare you.
If you all
wait.
Shut up.
No, do it on a good console. Do it on the Switch.
I'm gonna do it on all the consoles, Jordan. So there's a website that I like.
Tell me about it.
We're not affiliated with them.
No.
But they have affiliate links on their website.
Pro tip: we're not affiliated with any websites except for our own.
PS prices.
PS prices.
.com. If you want to look for
.com.
If you want to look up historical prices and what's currently on sale,
go for digital games.
Go to PS prices and you'll find they added iOS recently, and it's like why?
It's
terrible because you can sort everything on the website for like what's been on sale recently, and like you always have like dumpster fire free iOS games that now rise to the top.
I got you. You can't filter them out.
If you want to pay. Let's look at the Switch version of the Castlevania Anniversary Collection.
Yes,
Lowest price, $3.99.
That's nuts. Okay, every single person, go and wish list this. You'll get an email when it goes on sale for $4. Buy it because this is an amazing collection for $4. If you don't, then you're dumb.
Stop. Goodness. All platforms, $3.99 is the sale price that this goes for. So,
and it seems like that goes on sale pretty frequently.
Yeah. I often look at the arcade anniversary, which is like a bunch of shoot 'em ups.
It's not great. It's not as good as the Contra and Castlevania collections.
Yeah, I look at it on my wish list and I'm like, I should buy that.
And then I also bought the Castlevania Advance collection.
Yes.
Which doesn't go as cheap on sale.
Not yet. Maybe eventually. Maybe it won't.
Maybe
but those are like some solid Metroidvania games. I think Dracula X is on there too.
Yeah. So, for $4, if you can pick this up for $4, absolutely worth it.
Instead of 70. Man, it's so sad. I'm just lamenting the fact that this hobby used to be something that I could walk into a Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And for $10, I could get stuff that is now like hundreds of dollars.
Do you think that this is all Macklemore's fault?
Not all of it. I think
thrift stores definitely got worse after he put that song out.
Thrift stores got worse, but I think that the retro gaming prices have been the function of like people having disposable income and getting into their careers.
Yes.
Whereas it's like I started collecting in like high school, so it was like that was. I'm seeing this in PS3 and 360 now, where it's just like, oh, that's what this was like. Like, oh, people are like getting excited to collect like PS3 and 360 games. And it's like, I lived through that entire generation and it doesn't feel like retro or collectible to me.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to turn that corner where
kids who were
retro is starting to feel a little bit more. To me, it's still not, but I'm starting to go, am I going to have to think of PS3 games as retro and like collectible? Like, this is weird.
I need you to just start thinking of Wii games as retro.
I don't think about the Wii.
Oh, bro.
I just don't.
Bro.
No, you're not going to make me do that.
Anyway.
What a garbage console.
We're going to say that Castlevania Bloodlines is worth it. Dan's opinion on the Nintendo Wii, worthless.
We should just do a whole Wii episode.
We should.
We'll cover the whole library.
Are the 5,000 Wii games worth it or worthless? But for real,
shovelware. Like you,
physical version of Bloodlines worthless. Digital version worth it for sure.
I mean, yeah.
$4.
Like if you're a retro collector, you're gonna probably want to add Bloodlines to your collection. But I'm gonna feel bad for you for paying
For $70. No, don't. Why? Why are you gonna add this?
Because you collect in retro games, and what we say is ridiculous, anyways.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
If you got $70 to spend on retro games, then like this is one of the ones that you should have in your collection.
This is a retro game.
This is like Sunset Riders or like a Knights of the Round. It's a quality retro game that holds up in 2023. It's still fun to play.
I would not put this on par with Sunset Riders and Knights of the Round. You lost
now
me,
you got
man.
offended.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's a what I mean by that is it is a polished and fun experience in the modern era.
Yes, that's fair.
It's not one of those like
This game is broken.
yeah, it's like a lot of the early PS1 games, like they just feel bad to play. Like camera's weird, like they just didn't have an idea of like what was going on yet. And this game just feels like I never found myself going like this feels like an old game that's outdated and it needs a bunch of quality of life features and has like a broken map system. Like, no, this is a fun game that holds up. So
Yep.
play it. People, play it.
Do it.
Castlevania, the new generation.
Vampire Killer.
Play Vampire Killer on the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Or how much did you look up Japanese prices? How much is a copy of Vampire Killer?
I didn't even know that.
Because that's well, does the
it's got a different name. So
does the Sega Genesis play Mega Drive games? Is this a region locking?
Does the Sega what?
Does the Genesis play Mega Drive games?
I don't know. Why would you ask me? I never owned one. I'm not into Sega games. Oh my gosh.
We're big Sega fans on this podcast, Jordan. You didn't know that?
Vampire Killer.
Sega fanboy.
It is a game.
It is a game.
Holy crap.
Every time. All right, so here's another rabbit trail.
Wait, this is perfect. This is perfect, Dan. This is perfect.
Have I told you about the holy crap guy?
No. No, I need to know now.
So my son, one of the YouTube things that he likes to watch is a guy, or no, it's not even just this guy. My son is into Spirit Halloween YouTube culture, which is a thing.
You're probably saying to yourself, that's not a thing, but it's at least a thing.
It is a weirdly popular thing.
It's a weird thing for a kindergartner to be into.
Yeah, so my son is super into like Spirit Halloween animatronics because of these YouTube things. And my son is not somebody who's like into horror stuff or like he's like scared of the dark.
That's kind of run of the mill for like kindergartners.
Right. But he's watching these like terrifying animatronics say like horrible things and like we were just talking about it the other night. He's like talking about nozzles and Crouchy and like he knows these things by name. But there's this guy with a popular Spirit Halloween YouTube channel. His thing is I think he drives a truck and he just goes to different Spirit Halloweens across the country. And so like his whole thing is like, holy crap. Like he says holy crap in a really interesting way to me when I hear it. It's just, holy crap, guys. Every time somebody says holy crap, now I'm just like, Spirit Halloween.
Well, there you go. There's the story. Anyway, back to this. Dan, Vampire Killer for the Mega Drive this is perfect.
Perfect.
Loose cartridge, $666. Not even kidding. $666. A complete copy, $700.
What are y'all doing? Like who? Like,
so nope, that's not a good way to experience this game.
Definitely Anniversary Collection.
Yep.
That's probably one of those like super rare. Also the best version. Also it's in English, so like who cares whether it's It's like, man. Womp womp.
There it is.
There it is. Jordan, we got trivia?
I do have one. It's not. Well,
did you say it starts with one?
Yeah. So
I heard that song twice in one day in separate locations, and I was like,
What's the universe trying to say?
Is happening to me right now? I'm like, nope, this isn't happening.
All right. So, Dan, we talked a little bit about the music in this game. The composer of this game She later did Symphony of the Night and a number of other Konami games. She also did the music for the recent Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is basically just Castlevania, but under a different name.
Not as good.
Okay. Yeah. And so, Dan, which of these musical genres was not an inspiration for her composition of Castlevania Bloodlines? Which of these genres was not an influence for her composition of the soundtrack? Baroque, techno, classical, or rock? Baroque, techno, classical, or rock?
Is Baroque not classical music?
Baroque is more like harpsichord, kind of like ballroom.
Like Henry the whatever.
Sure.
Wigs and
yes,
Benjamin Franklin, whatever. What is
it's
what
like
is
more
that
like,
era? What's the era?
You kind of have to like pretend like you're bouncing, like dance, like a kind of like you're a hobby horse, kind of like gallivanting around Baroque music. Classical is, like Bach, Beethoven kind of stuff.
I know what classical
basically
music
like
is.
Chamber music versus symphony music.
Lost me again.
Okay. Well, which of those four genres did not influence her composition of Castlevania Bloodlines?
So we got classical, Baroque, metal, rock.
No, just rock or techno.
Rock or techno. Man, I want to say techno, but I feel like later on, techno came into the mix. Are we just talking about this game, or are we talking about in general?
This game.
Then I would say techno.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. She's a classically trained musician, and so like that was a thing that inspired her, stood out more in this. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. You nailed it.
Nailed
techno.
It. Perfect.
She was not inspired by techno. Which, Dan, do you know the birthplace of techno music?
Moby.
No. Like the physical location on the planet where techno music was first birthed.
France.
You'd think that because Daft Punk, right?
I didn't know Daft Punk was French.
Oh. I thought you were really leaning into the genre. No, Dan, it was a basement in Belleville, Michigan.
Okay.
Right down the street from us is where techno music was born.
I don't believe you, but fair enough.
Okay. Well, you can look it up on Wikipedia, which is where all of our facts come from.
Not all of them. A lot of them.
A lot of them.
Although there was one, I think, fun fact that needed a citation. Wikipedia is getting, October 2021 citation needed. I think that was one of the blood facts. Although the back of the box does say blood curdling for Castlevania: The New Generation.
Here's that when you look up the birthplace of techno music, one of the first articles that pops up is the Belleville 3 and how techno was born.
Interesting.
3 young men, all born in Detroit, met at school in Belleville.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I see you. Fair enough. Have I, when was the last time I got a trivia question wrong? Was it ever?
No, never, actually. You are infinite for infinite.
All right. Keep sending the trivia in, people. Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Jordan, do you have anything else before we wrap up our show
I think that's going to do it for us today.
Gonna do it. We got episode 107 going to be Punch Out.
Punch Out.
Punch Out. I don't know if you're going to like Punch Out or not.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
I think you're probably going to play the Switch Online version, so it's probably going to be Mr. Dream.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they've re-upped the license with Mike Tyson.
Probably not.
to get that out there. I think I've got Mike Tyson's Punch Out on the shelf. I don't think I have Mr. Dream, whatever. So I'll probably be playing that. I don't know. I'm curious.
I've never played it.
Yeah. I don't know how you're gonna feel about it because it is very like twitchy skill.
Oh.
Yeah, like you gotta have fast reflexes.
That's me.
So I don't know if
that's usually how people describe me.
Yeah, Jordan, we got Spotify playlists.
We do.
You want some good music? Do you want good chiptunes? Check out the description of this podcast. You find some links. You listen to Spotify.
Yeah,
which you should because Spotify is wonderful.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's good.
Jordan's been adding a lot of music to the Spotify playlist.
Is that a thing I can do? I'll put some songs.
I believe so.
All right.
So.
Add me to it.
Add some good music. And of course, if you want to do something nice.
Yeah.
Find a podcast that you like in the podcast app.
Yeah.
And go leave them a review.
Yeah. It could be ours. It could be someone else's. It could be the one that Dan and I have. It could be a random person that you know. It could be Worth It or Worthless. It could be really any podcast you could think of. It could be the one you're listening to right now. But go and leave them a nice review.
Yeah, at least 2 stars.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those.
That's the bottom. Don't go below 2.
Don't go below 2.
There's people out here. We are people.
We're not stars. We're people.
That's true.
We're not hearts. Should Castlevania have stars?
Yeah, pick up stars from candles to throw weapons at people. Why do you get weapons out of candles? You didn't even think about that.
I thought about it.
I didn't think about it. That's weird.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you guys in Punch Out.
See ya.
Bye. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, we'd greatly appreciate it if you left us a rating or review wherever you're listening, and if you shared the show with other retro gaming fans in your life. If you're looking for more retro gaming content, check out worthitorworthless.com where you can find things like reviews, guides, game recommendations, and of course, all of our relevant links. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks.